come on, man. Have a little bit of objectivity in the way that you ask these questions, because there were a lot of things in that speech masquerading as a question that didn't actually get asked, okay? Number one, the president doesn't sit at the Oval Office on his computer on his Robinhood account buying and selling stocks. That's absurd.
JD Vance was expecting policy questions. Instead, he got hit with a direct accusation about corruption, stock trading, and President Trump's finances. The vice president didn't hold back, blasting the reporter's question as a political speech masquerading as a question.
Guy with the real purple tie, I will give you the final question, and then I'm going to have to hit the road.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Sorry, this guy and then the very tall guy here. We'll give him the question. Sorry, I can't get to everybody. Marco's right. This really is chaos. This is crazy.
Yeah.
You guys got to behave yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The president's financial disclosures were released recently, and they showed a lot of stock trades in companies that he has talked up at events, official events at the White House, on his True Social account, sometimes even putting the stock ticker symbols in his posts and encouraging people to buy their stock. Americans, according to recent polling, are increasingly describing the president as corrupt. And trading stocks...
This is a hell of a question.
Thank you, sir. Trading individual stocks is something that you said that public officials should not be able to do when you ran for Senate all those years ago. And yet the president, who arguably has access to more non-public information than your average senator, is not only buying and selling individual stocks either through his trust.
Okay. What's the question?
The question, sir, is how can you and your administration argue to Americans that you're cleaning up corruption, you're preventing fraud, you're fighting the sorts of things that harm people and people's financial situations, when the president seems to be talking up stocks that he owns, selling them, and enriching himself?
Okay, so here, let me answer your question here. That was a doozy. Before I answer your question, I want to just observe there are different ways to ask a question. Okay, you could just ask a question and try to get your answer, or you could do like a speech where you say, Mr. Vice President, you're a terrible human being, and so is the president, so is the entire cabinet, and then I'm like, what's your question? And then your question is, how dare you? Come on, man. Have a little bit of objectivity in the way that you ask these questions, because there were a lot of things in that speech masquerading as a question that didn't actually get asked, okay? Number one, the president doesn't sit at the Oval Office on his computer on his Robinhood account buying and selling stocks. That's absurd. He has independent wealth advisors who manage his money. He is a wealthy person. He has had success in business. He's not making these stock trades himself. And your question imputes that. It doesn't say it exactly, but a reasonable person listening to that question would assume the president is sitting around and doing that. He's not. Second of all, you're right. I am a big fan of banning members of Congress from trading stocks. So is the President of the United States. All of us believe that nobody should be taking proprietary information gained from public service and buying and selling stocks. We want to ban that process. And I think the way to lead by example is banning that process, banning that approach, and making it illegal, which is exactly what the president has proposed doing.
The atmosphere changed immediately the moment the reporter brought up President Trump's recently released financial disclosures. The reporter accused Trump of publicly promoting companies whose stocks he allegedly owned through his trust, pointing out that the president had mentioned certain companies during White House events and even referenced stock ticker symbols on social media. The reporter then tied that issue to polling showing some Americans increasingly view Trump as corrupt. But the tension really escalated when the reporter reminded JD Vance that during his Senate campaign, he himself argued that public officials should not be allowed to trade individual stocks. That set the stage for a confrontation that quickly became one of the most talked about moments of the event. Vance clearly did not appreciate the framing of the question. Before even addressing the substance of the accusation, he stopped the reporter and criticized the tone entirely. He called the question a doozy and accused the reporter of delivering a political speech instead of asking a fair question. Vance argued that there is a difference between genuinely seeking information and constructing a hostile narrative before demanding an answer. The vice president sarcastically mocked the setup, suggesting the reporter was essentially saying, "You're a terrible human being, and so is the president," before pretending to ask a neutral question. The room visibly reacted as Vance turned what could have been a standard media exchange into a broader criticism of the press itself. After pushing back on the framing, Vance moved directly into defending President Trump. He firmly rejected the suggestion that Trump personally sits in the Oval Office trading stocks. According to Vance, Trump's investments are managed by independent financial advisors and wealth managers, not by Trump himself making day-to-day trades. Vance emphasized that Trump is a businessman with long-established wealth and investment structures that predate his presidency. He accused the reporter of intentionally creating the impression that Trump was personally manipulating stock trades using insider information from the presidency, calling that assumption absurd. It was a calculated attempt by Vance to separate Trump's personal involvement from the management of his financial portfolio. But the most politically significant part of the exchange came when Vance acknowledged that he still supports banning members of Congress from trading stocks altogether. Instead of backing away from his earlier position, he doubled down and claimed that President Trump agrees with him. Vance argued that public officials should not be able to use proprietary or non-public information obtained through government service to enrich themselves in the stock market. He said the administration wants to make stock trading restrictions law and framed that as leading by example. That response was clearly designed to neutralize accusations of hypocrisy by arguing that the administration supports broader reforms instead of protecting political insiders. The clash ultimately exposed a larger political battle that is likely to intensify heading deeper into the election cycle. Democrats and critics of Trump are increasingly trying to frame financial disclosure stories as evidence of corruption and self-enrichment, while Republicans are countering by portraying those accusations as politically motivated media attacks. JD Vance's response showed exactly how aggressively the administration intends to fight those narratives. Instead of carefully sidestepping the controversy, Vance openly confronted the reporter, challenged the legitimacy of the question itself, and pivoted toward broader arguments about media bias and government ethics reform. Whether viewers see it as a strong defense or a deflection, the exchange instantly became one of the defining viral moments from the press conference.